Morning folks, welcome to my workshop. This morning I've got a Triumph triple trophy on about a 1992 with a slip-in starter clutch. So we'll get off down to the workshop and strip it out and order bits up and then get it back together and see how it goes. Okay folks, so here we have Triumph Trident or Trophy 900, about a 1992, and it's got a starter problem. The starter clutch is slipping on it, so what we're going to do is go through the process of showing you how we're going to change the starter. And what I'll do is I'll just hook it up to a battery and let you in and see what's happening. Right, here we go. Wrong one. See, it's not turning the engine over, so I've taken the plate off the top of the engine here, where you can see the clutch assembly. I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit on it. Hopefully the light is good enough. Right, and let me just see what happens when we connect it up. You see, it's just not biting on the clutch at all. So okay, we'll go through the procedure of stripping it all down and see how it goes. Okay, so we'll take the clutch cover off. Obviously have a drain can underneath just in case any oil comes out. So it looks like we've got to strip the drive clutch out. So take this ring of bolts out, pull the clutch plates off and take the clutch hub off, the drive hub off, and that's gain access to some more bits and pieces in here. Okay, right, I've undone all the bolts and the springs. Take the clutch plates out. Right. Take the push rod out. And now we need to do is undo that centre nut there that holds the inner drive of the clutch on. Okay, got the clutch plates out. So socket to go on there. And where's the nut off? Okay, so take the inner and be careful of that washer there. You'll find that it's got a little Belleville angle on it, and it'll probably say outside written on it. Yeah, there we go. It's got outside written on it. Take that off. You'll find that there's a washer. There's a washer behind there as well, a big flat washer. And you'll probably find that you have to take that centre boss out because that won't come past the casing, so we'll take that out. Slowly count. Right, we've got that. Try and make sure you keep it all in the same direction. With a bit of luck, that might slip out of there. Okay. And there's the drive gear that goes down on the back of the clutch that drives that. So now we can gain access to that drive gear there. Sort of drives in one direction, but not the other. Okay, probably have to take that nut bolt off there on there, and then take the alternator off on the other side. Right, okay, now we need to take the alternator off, which is like a car type alternator on these, on the back of the engine. We've got one bolt here, one bolt there on the earth wire, and there's another one here underneath there. I've already undone them and slid it off, so probably take a little bit of prizing. Be careful when you take it off, because inside there is some dampener rubbers, you know, anti-shock rubbers. You'll take the shock out of it, and they'll probably just prise out some little. There's 4 of those in there. Okay, I'll carry on with that, and then it might be just a matter of putting a socket on there, socket on the other end, and pull the shaft out, and then the clutch might come out. Okay, we're right back on the transmission clutch side now. You can see there's a bolt there that holds that gear on there that drives the starter clutch. I've used the impact shotgun again with a 13mm socket on the end of it, and just be careful on sometimes of these, and some of them have got anti-clockwise thread on them to stop them from coming undone. Anyway, take that bolt out there, and then this gear, just push the shaft back slightly but don't push it all the way. That gear will then drop off and clear out the way, and you can see now the shaft has fallen back in there. Don't want to go dropping anything down inside the engine when you pull the shaft out, so just be mindful of that. Any washers, you know, thrust washers or shims or so forth. Right, hopefully you can see that a bit clearer. Right, this is the shaft. You need to pull that out, hold the starter clutch with your one hand and pull the shaft out with the other, and that should, a bit of luck, just lift out. Yes, and lo and behold, there is a washer in there. We've got to retrieve that, and I can see it. There we go, the washer in there, so be very careful when you take that shaft out that it doesn't drop right to the bottom of the sump. But if you've got a magnet like this, you should be able to retrieve it, so be mindful of that. It doesn't look like it's directional. There's a recess on both sides, so it looks pretty much symmetrical. Anyway, just bear that in mind. Okay, so we've got the clutch out. Okay, right, taking the spread clutch apart, got the circlip off the end there, and just split that. And this is the inner part, sorry, the outer part that the clutch mechanism runs on. And I don't know whether you can see or not, but that inner surface there is quite worn out. So okay, so I'll order up a new one, and hopefully it'll be here tomorrow, and I'll fit it back in the bike and give it a try. Right, okay, I ordered a new clutch last night, and lo and behold, here it is, arrived this morning. So as you can see, brand new, and the idea of it, it rotates in one direction but not the other. You can see that spinning on there, and we'll put the new clutch in the bike. Okay, back down on the engine, where the shaft goes through for the clutch to run on. I've noticed there's like a little boss that fits inside that bearing. So I think if we just pull that out, that might give us a little bit more room. Hopefully you can see it. So yeah, that comes out. That'll give us a little bit more room inside there. So now the clutch can maybe drop down in the hole. I don't think it'll go anywhere. Okay, so we got to get this spacer here, the one that dropped down onto the top of the gearbox shaft, like it didn't go all the way down into the sump. We got to get that somehow held in there while we put the clutch back in and then put the shaft through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load it up with a bit of grease, and hopefully that'll hold it all in place. And a bit of grease. Right. And hopefully that will hold that in place while I put the gear down in. Right, okay, now the spacer's in there, I'll take the shaft with the drive mechanism for the alternator. Just hold that with my finger. Feed the shaft through the hole because it's on a spline shaft, and just bring it so it's flush with the end of the spacer so it won't fall off. Right, get the new clutch and drop that down in, and it should actually fit comfortably there like that, and hopefully line it up. Push it in. Happy days. rotates one way but not the other. Get the little spline collar and pop it back on the bearing. Right, so that's now supported on there. Happy days. Right, we'll stick all the other stuff on the other side now. Right, okay, here we go. See the shaft sticking through, and just push it back a tiny little bit. Pop that gear that goes onto the back of the clutch. And push it through with a bit of luck. Right, that's on there now. Pop the bolt in. Do the bolt up. Right, got a bit of a hiccup. I've gone to do the bolt up. What was happening when I started to torque it up, the clutch just seemed to just tighten up. Now what looked like what's happening is this, I don't know whether you can see it with this screwdriver, the outer part of this clutch is actually fouling on here, on the casing. And the guy who brought it into me did say that there was a modification that had to be done when another clutch was fitted, and I didn't exactly know what it was. I've gone on the internet and apparently there is a service bulletin about this. And I've just matched it against the old one, and you can actually see that it is slightly larger. That one's about getting on 85 and this one's clear a lot. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but that's like 10mm bigger. So yes, so it looks like we might have to remove a bit of metal from the casing to get it to fit. Now I guess Triumph have done this because they have issues with this failing after so many thousand miles. And I guess the upgrade is to put a slightly bigger one in, which gives it a bit more contact here, so it lasts a bit longer. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to get the mini sander in there and remove a bit of metal from the casing where it makes contact. I've got myself a little miniature belt sander. I'm going to use it so the belt is travelling upwards while it's taking material off, so the material will then come out as opposed to going down inside the rest of the engine. And what I'm also going to do is just rig up a vacuum cleaner, so as I'm removing material from it, it's getting as much aluminium filings out the way as opposed to going down in the sump. Bit of an experiment, but you know, we've got to just try and minimise the amount of swarf and stuff that goes down inside the engine. Right, hopefully you can see that down in there. There's just a small little gap now, so the clutch mechanism won't foul on the case, and I'll take a snapshot of it. It's probably come out better than on the video. I ended up using a die grinder in the end. The old belt sander just simply wasn't removing enough material fast enough, so I used that. Kept the vacuum cleaner in there, sprayed the sides of it with a bit of oil to help stick the bits of aluminium to, but I think very little went down inside the sump, hardly any at all actually. But yeah, if you take those precautions, I think you'll get away with it. Right, I've torqued all the shaft up now, and as you can see, the clutch turns freely without fouling on that casing down in there. I think it was a service bulletin they did, I think I mentioned it before, but I'll just see if I can find some information about it. But I thought it was just going to be a straightforward changeover, but obviously not. I had heard whispers that you had to do some modifications, and that looks like what's got to be done to it. This drive gear that drives from the starter assembly down to the transmission that drives the engine and also the oil pump. Just make sure you get that recessed edge. It's got a recessed edge on one side. Make sure that that goes to the inside of the engine. That's because if you don't, you'll find that the oil pump and the gear at the top won't quite be in line. It'll be halfway in between the gears. So yeah, just be mindful on that. Right, here we go. Got it all back together. Got there in the end. Just a matter of lining it all up. Obviously make sure everything's all lined up and do the center bolt up on the shaft carefully. Don't wang it up unless something's binding, because something could be binding, you might end up breaking something. But make sure everything's all free and turning before you do anything on the starter motor. I've just checked it over. It does turn over okay, but we'll just check it up, just by putting the live back on the cable again and see what happens. Yeah, and that's turning that over fine with that new clutch on there. So it's just a matter of sticking the rest of it together and put the alternator back on, and hopefully have another working bike. Fantastic. Okay, well that's that little job out of the way. Wasn't as straightforward as planned, but hey ho, we're all in this. We all we know the issues and problems we get with doing mechanics and stuff like that. Okay, when I first ordered the part, I noticed that there was 2 parts available for that. Apparently the drive gear that drives that mechanism has either 15 tooth on it or 13 tooth on it, so check which one yours is, because there's 2 different part numbers for that spread clutch. Yes, we had a couple of problems with it. I think it's a modified version. Apparently it's something to do with a service bulletin that Triumph posted out. It must have something to do with the larger clutch, and then you have to, you know, compensate with the clearance on the casing as we showed earlier. But yeah, we overcome them. It's gone back to the customer as it is. He's going to put the tank, coils and so forth back on it. He just wanted to save a little bit of money, which is fair enough. Can't blame him for doing that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please feel free to visit my website, bbBikeShop.co.uk, and please feel free to subscribe to my channels. More videos will be posted up shortly. Hope you've found it useful, and thanks for watching.